Whoa. What's up? I have headphones on now. Yo. I hope you guys are doing well. Nice to see Twitter works. It's always really cool. I found it, actually. I found the Looking Good Ridin Slow edit. I haven't looked in this in so long. It's probably quite messy. It told me I don't have Isotope Ozone 5 anymore. I don't even know how many versions we are past that. Can everybody hear me? Does that sound okay? Does it sound okay? I hope it sounds okay. Oh, I made myself more coffee. It's decaf because I already had a lot of coffee today. So, oh my god, my headphones. Whew. Nice. Cool. It works. Yeah, Looking Good Ridin Slow is it's interesting. The edit is actually probably I know we haven't done like a proper stream intro or anything, but this is like the cold open. So hi, welcome, willkommen, ni hao, hello. I hope you're okay. Does everybody have something caffeinated, maybe? Tea? No, that's too hot. I'm not even gonna do that. Let's not do that. So the VIP of Looking Good Ridin Slow, I wanted to make a VIP of it, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just wanted to like extend it so that I could have something to play. Water, yeah, I have water too. Just a big thing. Water's the best. So I can't. My coffee addiction is I don't know. I'm in good company, like the rest of the world, I think. Anyway, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it necessarily, but I rediscovered that I had like, I don't even know, like a bunch of extra stuff added on to the end originally that I had cut out of the song in favor of just like having some intro. Oh, hi, what's up? T gang. Oh, also I have BTTV emotes. I don't know how much they apply to this, but there is this CT bass emote that I made of Thundercat, so you can steal that for your own channel. Anyway, let me take a look through this. We're gonna go through it together. I don't remember how it's organized, but it's probably like a little bit of a mess. Usually what I do if I'm going to make videos out of this, and I might make a video out of this one. Do we have chat, by the way? Do I have the chat box? No, I don't. Hold on. Let me, hold on. Let me add the chat box here. Up in the side. Yeah, that should work. I'm gonna have to edit the size of it. 1 second. I want to make sure that I get you guys' questions or whatever in this video, or just copy paste those. I don't know. Whatever works. All right, it's there. It should be above me if you chat. Oh, excuse me. Also, I don't have a noise gate on this, so if it's like too compressed and you get like terrible mouth noises, let me know. Anyway, let's give it a listen. Have no idea how it's going to come out. I'm just going to turn off all of this horrible mastering stuff and maybe just delete it entirely for the time being, because it's going to give us a lot of lag. This is the drum group here. Oh yeah. I can already tell there's some things that I would not do the same way. So this must be the rendered out version of this synth group here. Ooh. Sub is basically made of an oscillator. some terrible compression and EQ ideas going on. Very simple, yeah, the intro is very versatile. Better than the album version. Let's see. Also, yes, this is... This is a song from my like 2016, 2017 album. Quite minimal, really, when you come down to it. Just like looking at the number of tracks there are. I would love to be at Bass Coast. I don't know if, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely going in more of like a clubby, hip-hop halftime direction with Zero Tep stuff. So, this kind of stuff is going to be explored under some different projects in the future. So showing up at a festival like Bass Coast will hopefully make a little bit more sense in the future with some of the new Distortion Daddy tracks. Yeah, exactly. Who knows when the festivals are going to come back. Meanwhile, I am curating a large selection of destructive bangers. In addition to some of this more like poppy jazz stuff in the background. I would really love to play with a jazz band. You haven't really heard any of it yet, but some of this stuff, even like the stuff from Afterglow and the first couple Zero Tep records, were partially built to be played live with band and could be arranged. So I know, yeah, I know. Bass Coast. I do want to go. I would love to go. That would be crazy. Anyway, let's break. I don't know what we want to start with. Maybe the drums, because they sort of like persist through the whole song. You're gonna notice terrible compression. When I made this song in like 2015, 2016, or whatever it was, it's called Club 15. This was the 15th like genuine attempt at a club song that I started. 2015 was when I first started it. I didn't know how to compress. I didn't know how to EQ. I didn't know what I was doing. It was a lot of broad, trying to choose good sounds, which is always a good thing to do, but like this. Like just this EQ down here on the bottom. Just like not, cutting with wide Qs and like a compressor with like a 0.1 millisecond attack time just because I was like trying to treat it like a limiter. Anyway, we do better now, and it kind of came out in the master, so it sort of whatever. So yeah, this drum rack, let's take a look. So the kick, pretty simple kick, a little bit of saturation on it, a little bit of mid-range lift to get it to sort of pop out, since it is like very clean. It's the main clap, and here's another snare. I don't know if this even has any added EQ on it. Oh no, it does. Take it back. It's a very nice EQ. I give myself props for that. Or not EQ, excuse me, reverb. Mid-side. What was I doing? Anyway, we'll do more Mad Atlantic stuff. No, Mad Atlantic is dead. But I am doing more rock music and stuff like that. So we've got the snare, this tiny little glitch thing. Overall, it doesn't look like I was doing too much, other than sort of like warming some of these up and maybe cutting out some of their most offensive frequencies. For the starts and stops in this song to really like snap together, I kept most of the sounds dry. So like you have this snare, which actually has some reverb on it. But I don't know if you'll see anything else in this drum chain with reverb. Just a number of hi-hats, or hi-hats, toms, and maybe this ride? No, not even. It's just a very long acoustic sounding ride. So that anytime that I just stop and I release the drum pads, the sound stops as well, which kind of helps when you're getting these like really long, these very tight tom fills and stuff. Down here, I think. And they can just like stop. Sub bass is extremely simple. It's just basically literally a sine wave, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, a little bit of shaping on it to make it sort of drive a bit. Nice and clean. Basic 808. One of the nicer drum kits that I've ever assembled, I think, even if I didn't really know what I was doing with compression and drum processing at the time. But it all comes together in the drum bus. I am a he. I thought about that a bit, but yeah, pretty, I don't know, pretty straight passing. Even if I am gay. So I think I'm pretty comfortable in my masculinity. This drum bus here is a very convoluted attempt, and what I was probably doing a little bit too much processing at this time, trying to get things to sound right, even though they did come together in the end. You see a little bit longer attack time on this compressor and a little bit longer attack and release times on this. Kind of help give the drums some push and pull. Whether or not I intended that or knew what I was doing is a different thing. But I think that would actually make it sound okay. Kind of bring it together regardless of how it was mixed. And I'm sure if you turn these off, you'll notice a lot of the terrible... Yeah, snares aren't as crisp. And those like arpy like weird or woofy like weird things don't like punch through this. Not as present. Anyway, I wouldn't say that that's the most complex thing that we have here. So when the whole thing kind of like ducks down and it goes into that very like where is that? Down here. This is where this processing group comes in. Cuts out the highs, adds a little bit of reverb on the whole thing. A little bit of erosion, I guess. Adding back a little bit of that high end. And then even more compression, baby. Sounds okay. I can't complain about that too much. It's the most tracks I've had at one time. I don't even know. Upwards of 80, probably, I would say. Enough that it breaks the computer and what's going on with the computer. So, yeah, nothing has really changed when it comes down in here into the VIP section, I don't think. You'll notice that I do pretty much all of my drum processing within like one track itself, because all of these individually can have effects on them, as well as like layering up effects within Ableton's audio effect rack. If there's something specific that you wanted to see too, let me know, because I'll just kind of like go through it methodically, and I don't know, I tend to ramble a bit, so if there's something that you really want to see, let me know. Let's go down into these synths here. None of them I don't think are too complicated. One thing that you should always do that I never did in the master version of this is change the look ahead of my sidechain here. That'll help kind of remove that sort of distortion and clicking that you hear every time it fires. If I had just changed that to maybe like 10 milliseconds. Never mind. Never mind. Don't listen to me. Anyway, let's go through these synths. Simple filtering kind of going on. Probably something that I could have done down here in the filter if I hadn't have added some of this crazy processing up top. Using an overdrive, kind of like a saturator to sort of warm things up. Again, there's another reverb here within the chain. Something that I might have been able to add into a return track instead, maybe. But yeah, these are very big open saw chords. I really don't think, like, I was aiming to try to or square, sorry, not saw, square wave chords. I was aiming to like tap into that like just straightforward open tonality and do it in sort of like a footwork way. Oops, just turn the group on. Dang, I never actually remembered that these are in there. So there's these phasey ones in there. A bit strange. Never remembered that those were in there. Proof that sometimes the best way to get a sound is to just automate it. I was looking for that. I was looking for the lead because I forgot how I did the lead. I think this is it. Interesting. So I'm using an LFO MIDI here. It's okay. Ask questions if there's something that I said that you don't understand. I mean, it depends on, I guess, how much you know about music production to start. But if there's anything that I say that you just feel like I gloss over, I probably did, because like I've learned all of this myself over the course of years. So I have like I've had a very hard time sometimes explaining how or why I make decisions, because they're just something that I've sort of intuitively done without anybody having told me to do them. Or I might have picked them up in some, I don't know, some off YouTube video or something like that. Anyway, this lead synth down here, so I'm using this LFO MIDI to change the pitch envelope here, and what this pitch envelope is doing is it's giving it that little sweep up, that whoop 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 whoop, and I'm alternating it on the note, so it sounds like it's going up on the first note and then staying steady on the second note, and it kind of gives it this, you know, like almost like somebody moving up a guitar fretboard. You can see this pitch envelope changing. Not really sure why I chose to do it with an LFO MIDI. Probably would have been better to do with just automating it, but I guess, yeah. This might have come from Ableton 9 too, so I don't know if it was as easy to automate things back then, copying automation and changing the lanes and stuff. Might not have known what I was doing with it anyway. But this is a basic saw wave with a little bit of modulation happening up top. That is modulation. Yeah, they are. Oh no, they are running concurrent, so they're not modulating each other. They're actually right on top of each other. So that's sitting up on top of this other synth. kind of hard to detect unless you have headphones on, but it helps like those those high frequencies pierce through just a little bit. It's kind of nice. Yeah, again, a bit hard to hear. Anyway, what is this? Oh yeah, this is one of those old Brainworks plugins. So this is a Brainworks plugin which allows you to control sort of like the stereo spectrum, but in sort of a more intuitive way than Ableton's utilities. It's got a tone knob which allows you to adjust like whether or not it leans towards high tones or low tones. And then it also allows you to mono out certain frequencies or expand the stereo spectrum a little bit. And I think I originally had this on to accent the chorus, which was here, which I ended up getting rid of, which was probably a really good decision. So I don't really know if it's doing much. It might be artificially expanding the stereo spectrum a little bit after this reverb. Probably just a remnant, something that I forgot to get rid of, to be honest. A little bit more multiband compression, probably way too long attack times on this. With attack times like that, with a synth, you're just you're not controlling the you're not taming the transients as much as just sort of like shaping the overall shape of it, I guess. These will do more to tame the transients, but for some reason, again, I've chosen to use two of them with really short attack times because I thought that was doing something different to the audio. Probably would be better without it, but they are here in both versions. So one of the things that I quite like doing are these sort of like really long effects on the top of a mix. You hear it a lot in like drum and bass music, especially, or I guess any genre that really needs like top end stuff because it's very focused on the low end. And in this case, for these, instead of like having just a crash, even though there is a crash, I wanted to have these chimes running down every time. So in addition to this very long crash here, which I think has some added reverb on it, and it's faded in a little bit so that you get sort of like the effect of hitting the very first note of that measure, and then kind of like sort of like a side chain, but not really side chained. Excuse me. Good lord. I wish I had just like a mute button so I could do that without blowing things out. I think it's very nice at making it sound nice and alive. So, I try to include stuff that's not... Oh, why isn't the chat popping up, by the way? Am I just waiting on it? Oh, it's just invisible, is it? Sorry, I'm just not watching what I'm doing. I try to include a lot of sounds that aren't digitally created. Most of the time. Sometimes not necessarily by like force of... Or like not necessarily like because it's what I want, but just because that's like the nature of the sound that I want. Like in my most recent Zero Tep record that's yet to come out, I used a lot of found sounds and sounds that are designed for use by Foley artists. So there's like sounds of like sword fighting and sounds of like transformers and like bullets and stuff like that. So not to mention a lot of these drums that I'm using are sampled drums, like so they come from real drum sounds, especially like the snares and the claps and stuff that you hear in this are composited from real drum sounds. So all of these synths, are being mixed down from this big synth group into one group, which I can then sort of like process as a whole, as one big stem. And here what I've done is I've cut out the low end so that the sub can basically just be, can just sort of like hold its weight on the low end, while the rest of this nasty stuff doesn't contaminate that sub at all. Excuse me. What is my... Oh, there it is. The chat's working. Thank God. What does my physical setup look like? I've got... That... Sorry, it's a bit messy. My roommate moved out not too long ago. That's my main keyboard. I have an Ableton push. I have like a guitar and a bass. Some acoustic guitar that I found for super cheap. I have an Ableton push that's having issues with its power supply right now, or something like that. I need to send it into Ableton, but I've been too lazy to go to box it up and go to the post office. But yeah, I don't really have anything. I'm on budget gear. I've always been on budget gear. Trying to just take care of the stuff that I have for years and years and years until it absolutely, breaks down. I have a MIDI foot controller that I use sometimes if I want to get a little bit more hands-on with it. Like I might need to have my hands on the keyboard as well as like something on a foot control expression pedal. Yeah, learning the standards of gear and of music can help. You mean like troubleshooting your computer and like how all that plays together, like with like drivers and how it works in your DAW, I imagine, is what you're talking about. There's definitely a little bit of a barrier to that. If you're on a PC, just having... Well, I'll say this. Macintoshes are made so that they... anything that's made for them should just plug and play with it. So if you buy a copy of Ableton like I have, and you get, like an Ableton push or an Akai keyboard or something like that, all of these are built specifically to run within the framework of a Macintosh, whereas Windows pulls other drivers from other places. And so sometimes they don't always work together. They need to stay up to date in order to work together. They aren't like slaves to the protocol of the operating system that underlies it. So you're going to have more problems just innately on Windows. And then after that, of course, like learning MIDI and that kind of stuff. It's not once you learn that, you'll be able to like take that knowledge to anything. So like, yeah, I guess it sort of depends on the problems that you're having, but I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. I've been just having problems with my push for like the last year, and every now and then it works. It usually doesn't, but every now and then it does. And I can't troubleshoot it. It's literally so beyond me. Something is physically wrong with it. And if I didn't like know what that looked like, then yeah, that would frustrate the hell out of me too. If you ever have like specific questions, Gengar, just let me know. I'm not always around to help, but I'll, you can just like tweet at me. It's also like Discord servers and stuff full of producers that would be more than willing to help you out if, like I'm not in a live stream or something. I prefer PC, baby, because, PCs. Get the options to do, I don't have to like struggle against the operating system to hack it and do what I want. Yeah, of course. I'd love to help. I just want to make it. It's my wish that everybody in the world has like some form of art or like self-release. It doesn't have to be art, but it helps people. You know, even just writing a diary helps people. And for me, it's music, because like the abstraction of music can marry with like the abstraction of poetry, and can marry with something like a visual element. And you know, I find that helps. It's a medium that can absorb all of the other anxieties and views and wishes that I have. Almost all of them, minus some of the more heavy political ones, but it's a discussion for another time. Anyway, let me look at some of this other random stuff. Again, I'm just seeing this project file after a few years. So this is like... yeah. I love... DJing is a lot of fun. And you'll learn a lot about the music that you listen to, too, just by, I mean, literally like looking at the waveforms and breaking them down. It's a lot of fun. It's great. And it's just like a great way to explore your collection and like learn how to enjoy stuff. Fiber arts, like yarn and stitching and crocheting and stuff. Hands-on stuff is great. Collage, oh god, I love it. I would love to actually like build systems of cybernetics and work with them. It's kind of like a long way away. It's just something that I've explored in the box within Ableton and like Macs and stuff just a little bit. So catch me in 10 years. Maybe I'll be streaming with that kind of technology. Oh, this is the... okay. Okay, so these sounds, as well as I think that little like whip, and some of these other like little bit sounds come from a big sample thing called Bit Crate. I don't know if I still have it here. Maybe. Bit Crate. Yeah. And it's literally like full of these obnoxious sounds. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Sorry, my computer's very slow. I run off of all old hard disk drives. So sometimes you have to wait for my computer to do stuff. It's the reason I don't stream a lot, because I'm actually kind of embarrassed about it. But there's a new one that I'm building. It's just not done yet. Yeah, okay, so this Bit Crate, it just has like a bunch of super obnoxious sounds, and it's great. I really love it. But this is one of them. Probably something that I could replicate, but it's better that I don't have to. I think that also... oops, sorry. Also being used up here as well. In something that's frozen and then resampled to sort of like filter out just the high end and sort of drive it a little bit. Then there's some 100% wet reverb and some other crazy stuff. I bet it sounded somewhat different just sort of by itself. So that's what it sounds like dry. Yeah, it's different, that's for sure. Oh, it's the same sound it's at the beginning. Who knew that? Other than me, 5 years ago. Good. So yeah, these vocals also are me. I try to like not sample if it's just something that I can make. In that way, it just kind of keeps it a little bit more within my universe. Not that I'm against sampling or anything like that. It's just I can do it. Looking good, riding slow. Not that hard to say. Another extremely convoluted chain of processing for what's essentially a very simple vocal line. a lot of like unnecessary EQing and compressing happening here on like the end, which is in a way it provides its own. It is doing something, but it could be done like this could essentially be done with like one compressor, as well as this multi-band compression. It's probably unnecessary if I just did a little bit of EQing. There's another snare sort of layered in underneath. Must have been a last minute addition because it's at the very bottom of the track. And this has a gate on it, so I'm guessing that the original snare was probably a little bit longer. Let's get the, let's just get rid of it. Yeah. Nice way of artificially like reducing the length of sounds. Though if I were to do it again, I probably would just do it in a sampler, since you can actually just load this sample into a sampler and then just set the decay time. But you know, it's simple, it's easy, probably didn't take me that much time anyway. Here's something that here's actually a sample of mine, a sample that I actually made at one point. The perfect rev kick, the reverse kick, made I think from just taking a kick that's sort of like nice and stereo, adding. I can kind of show you how I did it if you'd like to see that. You can reverse any sound this way actually. So like let's just find a kick, like a nice. Let's find a big one, something. Okay, sure. We'll shorten that a little bit. All right, nice big kick, right? Now, if you add some reverb to this, like some nice big reverb, 100% wet, and then you were to like reverse that reverb, you'd essentially like hear the sound of a reverse kick. You essentially hear like the sound of the reverb tail going into a reverse kick. Now, if I were to just consolidate this sample to make it sound just like it does now, and then reverse it before the reverb, reverse. What I now get is the sound of a reverse kick through reverb. So if I freeze this, then flatten it, what I've now got, oh, I lost my original kick, hold on. Let's just take this compressed kick to a different track so I can show you. What I've now got is I've got the reverb tail of a reverse kick, which can then be reversed again to be the reverb tail of that kick as it's like it's coming towards you. Like it's the reversed reverb tail of a forward kick. I'll just show you. You'll see it. You'll hear exactly what I'm talking about. You will have heard this on a lot of different recordings. So now I've got like the reverse tail. It works the same for like vocals and stuff. Actually works a little bit better for vocals since you can actually like hear the word that's coming in underneath it. And then if you sort of like chop off a little bit of this, sometimes it works a bit better. Kind of nice. Kind of a nice way to do reverse things. And I've done the same thing here on this reverse kick. I don't know if you can hear exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of not, it works a little bit better for vocals. But you won't hear, it'll essentially be like the reverb tail of that forward vocal sample as opposed to the reverb tail of that sample coming in reverse. I don't know if I'm describing it the right way. Anyway, nice big like 808 cymbal there. Yeah, not too much going on here. And the thing about the VIP is that it was essentially just meant to be sort of an extension of this club stuff. So you get a lot of the same stuff, just reusing it. Now the outro stuff has actually been pushed. So the original Lookin Good Ridin Slow has an outro section that's just drum and bass, or not bass stuff. Well, I guess there is bass in there, but like keyboard stuff, synth stuff. And this is done with a program that emulates live drums called Addictive Drums. I'm using an old version of it actually. I still use this version. Has a really nice drum brush sound. It's a Lounge Lizard, which is an emulation of electronic keys. Little ARP within Operator that's just basically like the same sort of like square wave that you were hearing that makes up this main synth here. Not that one. Where is it? This one. Same kind of square wave thing, but it's filtered out. It's like decayed a little bit. That has like some nice delay on it, some totally pointless layers of compression, and then this bass, which also serves as that whistle on top, which is essentially a slightly modified wave here on the bottom. Just to kind of bring out some of those upper harmonics, and then a sine wave sitting on top of it. And the thing that makes it kind of sound like ghostly and whistly is this LFO here, which is set to change the pitch of all of the oscillators just a little bit, 100 times a second, about 13%. So just kind of like, woo, hovers there. And actually, the LFO itself has an attack envelope on it, so it sort of glides in. It doesn't come in right away. You can hear it sort of increase as the note is being held down. So obviously, like, my interest in doing like jazz and pop stuff definitely started there. So any frequency modulator will essentially mod one input with another input. The people call a low frequency oscillator because it can go very slow, as opposed to a regular oscillator, which usually is like going up at like the hundreds, thousands of times a second to make an actual audible tone. A low frequency oscillator might just be going a few times a second or like less. There's some like low frequency oscillators for modular synths that are programmed to run. They can run for literal years or decades. Like, they're programmable to just like an arbitrarily long amount of time. So that's what makes it a low frequency oscillator, or a absurdly low frequency oscillator. It's the same as any other oscillator. So like technically a low frequency oscillator oscillating at like 1 hertz, like could be audible if we could hear 1 hertz, but we can't. So when you actually, like, if you were to on a modular synth hook up a low frequency oscillator that could oscillate at something higher than like 20 hertz, you could just hook up that output into the speakers and you'd be able to hear it. It's the same. It's just programmed to do longer oscillation times than like a normal oscillator, basically. That's what makes it low frequency. So technically, like, a high frequency oscillator would just be like most of the oscillators that you already know and all the ones that you already use. So like this one that's built into Operator is built to run from like 127 times a second, which is something that you can hear technically. That's why you get like beating tones, because that like this higher pitch is being oscillated with something underneath it, and the difference between those two tones is what's called like a beating tone. So like, say you have 100 hertz tone being modulated by, oh god, I hope my math is right on this. So like, say you have like 100 hertz tone being oscillated by a 20 hertz tone. Together they would form 5 hertz fluctuations, because that's when their peaks sort of like cancel each other out and reach each other. So you'd be able to sort of like hear an invisible tone if you could hear 5 hertz between those. And you can kind of get like the same effect here. I'm not playing that. Anyway, never mind. It's very hard to describe here without just like sounding like an idiot. It's something that's kind of better if I like draw it on a whiteboard or something. But yeah, LFOs just low frequency oscillators just go slow. That's pretty much the only difference. I don't know how much else there is here in this track. I guess the one thing that's happening here on the master that I haven't really done, that I haven't really pointed out. There's a little max for live effect. That you'll see come on every now and then, like here. Oh, not here, never mind. It's before the drop. How little I remember my own song. And basically what it does is it just like takes the pitch. It's like an artificial pitch drop. It has a drop duration of a quarter second, or quarter measure, which is basically 1 beat at 155 beats per minute, and it just like drops the pitch. It's like kind of not noticeable. You could do it in the master file itself if you wanted to, but without it just kind of like sounds like straightforward. Just kind of goes into it. So yeah, it's not an incredibly complex track. I don't know how much more there is to go into. I can answer any questions if you have them. Otherwise, I do have another one that I was thinking about opening up. I recorded a video on Recover a little while ago, but I haven't released it yet, and I was thinking about just maybe going over it live. I don't know if there's any tracks that you guys listen to that you really want to see, but I could go through that one as well. I noticed this grain delay here as well. I don't really know where that's coming from. This? No, nothing that's on. Might not be being used, because I really didn't see it. Going up a bit. Yeah, I don't really know. So yeah, anything else? Any burning questions? I know it's not like the most interesting one, but yeah. The VIP is basically like basically just like the album version with a bunch of extra stuff on there that I cut out. So anything that's in the VIP that wasn't in the album version, it's like 90% how I made it originally and then just decided to scrap it. In favor of having something short and stuff. I don't know what my favorite music to make is. I don't know. The stuff that I make under my own name is like, it's what I call systems music. And it's like, I was saying I might want to get into like cybernetics and stuff like that. And that's very fun because like the system itself can sort of operate without too much interference. Which is nice. I can just sort of like come in and play what I like. All right, I'm gonna open up the Recover set. Because Looking Good, Ridin' Slow is definitely good. Constructed, like when you look at the construction of it, it's definitely one of the more simple ones. Like everything kind of has its place. All the sounds are nice and clean. Like when you're hearing that big open square chord, that's exactly what it is. It's just like a operator. Nice and simple one.